From WBAL TV 11, this is breaking news.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're starting with breaking news out of Southwest Baltimore tonight, where police say a 5-year-old boy was grazed by a bullet. 11 News reporter Trey Ward is live at the scene right now. Trey, what can you tell us?
Well, Kai, police literally just put up the crime scene tape moments ago. We're feet away from where they roped off this portion of the street. We're standing near Wilkins Avenue and South Smallwood Street in Southwest Baltimore. Police say a 5-year-old was inside of his home just after 10 when a bullet came through the window and grazed him in the arm. Now, we spoke to two family members here on scene who say the boy was in the bathtub with his sister when he was shot. We're told multiple shots were fired in this area. The family members say the boy is alive and conscious. Police at this time have not commented on any suspects or arrests in this case, but they do say if you have any information in this case, you're asked to give them a call. For now, we're live in Southwest Baltimore tonight. I'm Trey Ward, WBAL TV 11 News.
All right, Trey, thank you. Of course, we'll have the very latest on that on 11 News tomorrow morning. And our other top story tonight, the Baltimore City FOP says the officer who crashed into a creek in northeast Baltimore this morning is bruised but is doing okay. Police say the officer got a call about an attempted suicide at around 11 o'clock this morning. He crashed into a car as he was heading to that scene and then fell into the creek near Eckerdale Avenue and Herring Run Drive. 3 people who were working on a nearby house were able to pull the officer out of the water.
First and foremost, we're so grateful to the 3 people who were here, who saw the accident, who pulled the officer out. They heard it, they saw it, they jumped right to action. Thank God he wasn't hurt, but they could have saved his life.
Well, that officer was taken to a hospital as a precaution. The other driver refused medical attention. Well, new tonight, Baltimore police are looking for the person who killed a man in West Baltimore today. Officers responded to Bradish Avenue for reports of an aggravated assault at around 7:30 and found the victim dead with signs of trauma on his body. Police have not said exactly how he was killed. Well, 2 men are recovering after 2 separate shootings today. Just before noon, someone shot a man on Fairview Avenue. That's in northwest Baltimore. And in West Baltimore, around 8:30 tonight, a man was shot on Irving Street. There's no word on their conditions. Anyone with information about any of these cases is urged to call police. Closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin murder trial are set for Monday, and the National Guard is getting ready for whenever the verdict comes down. Troops spent the day putting up fencing, barbed wire, and barricades throughout Minneapolis. Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer, is charged with killing George Floyd last May. The defense rested its case on Thursday. Chauvin invoked the Fifth Amendment and chose not to testify. Also in Minneapolis and beyond, protests continue after 20-year-old Dante Wright was shot and killed by a police officer. Large crowds gathered in Brooklyn Center in Durham, North Carolina last night, and there was also a protest in Denver, Colorado today. Former officer Kim Potter shot Wright during a traffic stop on Sunday. Investigators say she mistakenly reached for her gun instead of her taser. In body-worn camera video, you can hear Potter yell "taser" several times before she shot Wright. She's charged with second-degree manslaughter. Protesters also gathered in Baltimore today. The Black Lives Matter Interfaith Coalition held a rally outside Baltimore City School headquarters. The protesters also addressed the Black and Latino Army officer who was mistreated by police during a traffic stop in Virginia. An organizer of the rally says he thinks a lot of the incidents stem from police officers not getting to know the communities they serve.
I don't think they know the people that they're serving well enough. They only know us from when the police are being called. They don't have an intimate relationship with the public. So there's this mistrust that, one, I think the public has, and then there's this fear of the unknown I think the police department has, and that's why we end up with the results we end up having.
The group also spoke out against the rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. COVID-19 metrics here in Maryland are still trending in the wrong direction. According to the state, there were 1,500 new cases yesterday alone, and 17 more people unfortunately died from complications during that same time period. But nearly 24 people were released from hospitals in the past day, and the hospitalization rate has declined for a second day in a row now. When it comes to vaccinations, the state has administered nearly 4 million doses to date, and that includes more than 77,000 shots that were given out just yesterday. As of now, more than 1.5 million people in the state are fully vaccinated. 4 new deaths in France are now linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's according to the country's National Agency for the Safety of Medicines and Health Products. In a press release, the agency said there have been 23 cases of serious adverse reaction to the vaccine so far. Those include blood clots and bleeding disorders. The information is shared with the agency that's evaluating the safety of vaccines across Europe. Minority-led small businesses have been hit hardest during the pandemic. That's according to a new study from the 12 banks of the Federal Reserve. Among the nearly 10,000 small businesses that were surveyed last fall, the minority-led firms reported steeper declines in sales than white-owned businesses. They also had a harder time accessing capital. And when they did get funds, they were less likely to receive the full amounts requested. Among the small businesses surveyed, white-owned firms were twice as likely to get fully approved for financing as black-owned and Latino-owned firms. A year into the pandemic now, the MTA is hoping to bring back express bus routes in Baltimore City and reduce the cost for some rides. The agency is proposing the changes for summer, but as 11 News reporter Trey Ward explains, they need the public to weigh in.
It's a need for many.
Got people out here working, it's corona, people ain't really got no money, they trying hard to make it out here.
That was reduced because of surging COVID numbers, but now, more than a year into the pandemic and a continuing vaccine rollout, service changes could come soon.
A lot of people trying to get to work, some people trying to make it out here, it's hard.
The Maryland Transit Administration now proposing service changes to Baltimore City bus routes, ushering in the return of all express bus link routes except for Route 164. The 60-cent upcharge on express rides put into effect because of lost revenue last year would also go away.
Yes, it's a great benefit. I mean, because everybody don't have the money to just, blow it on nothing, 60 cents. That definitely comes in handy.
And the agency also wants to offer 3-day and 10-day passes for its riders.
If you can extend the bus pass, oh yeah, that'd be perfect. It gives us time, that we don't have. Everybody don't have time to run down the light rail every time.
And these proposals to bus routes come as MTA says they're trying to meet the public's demand as travel patterns are returning to pre-pandemic levels. The measure would go into effect on August 29th, however, not without a series of public hearings and a 30-day public review and comment period. The public hearings will be virtual and held between May 22nd to the 25th, while public comments will be accepted through late June.
Well, it depends on how the workers want to go at it. You feel me? Because I'm looking at it like this. Some buses on schedule, some buses not. So we got to deal with how they ride. Some workers might not approve because they got used to what they're doing. So we have to bear with them.
This, as some say, the proposal could go further.
Yeah, I hope it goes through, especially for, like I said, for a lot of people out here who don't have that kind of access. You get these people to, make it cheaper. I wish they can just make it free.
I'm Trey Ward, WBAL TV, 11 News.
Still ahead on 11 News tonight, the royal family's final goodbye. We look back at the funeral service for the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, when we come back.